Hey, Misfits, time for another 1 minute review, and today we're taking a look at Clank Catacombs. Now this, according to Tom and Dawn here, is their favorite version of Clank. Now,
Other than the Legacy.
other than the Legacy version, yes. I like it a lot, but we'll get to that in a minute. So Clank has been a game that's been around for quite a while. If I recall correctly, Richard Garfield had a hand in it, maybe, perhaps. No.
No, designed by Paul.
No, the original Clank. I believe the original Clank.
I don't think he did.
I think he did.
You want him to make everything.
I do. He's an amazing man. But anyway, no, I'm pretty sure he did. Anyway, we'll double check that. And if you guys have any comments about who created the original Clank, just please put it below. But yeah, so Clank is an awesome game because it combines deck building, but also it combines movement. It's one of the earliest games, I think, if I recall, to combine those aspects, which it became kind of the rage now lately, where people have been combining deck building with worker placement, deck building with cooking shows, and deck building with this, with peanut butter, everything, because it's just deck building is an amazing game mechanic, and you can, if you mix it with other stuff, even better. But this is one of the earliest ones to do it, and basically, you have a starter deck like you do with anything else, and you draw 5 cards. These cards will have not only things to buy from your traditional deck building row, along with staples, but they also have movement points to move your character around the board. And they also have attack points because some cards will come out and they'll be monsters. And you'll have to spend that attack points to knock them out to get more points. Points in this case being gold. Now, the other aspect of this game is, though, it's a little cutthroat. A little cutthroat. The idea is you're moving your character around on this board to collect even better stuff to up your score. As you go around, you're going to buy things and basically look for artifacts. Artifacts are basically graded in amount of points. The way that works, though, is that the farther out you go, normally in Clank, the higher the level of the artifact. Because the point is, if you don't get back to home base in time, or at least a certain threshold, you're going to die. And if you die, guess what? Game's over for you. You lose. So there's a lot of kind of a push your luck a little bit element of it, and other people can make that push your luck even worse, because the farther you go out, if someone decides to not go farther out and get in quicker, what happens is you start taking damage. And how does that work? Well, you have a dragon here, and he basically damages you every round, and you have a bag. So as you go along, you make what's called clank or noise, and your cubes basically go into a pool. And then whenever you pull a card out that basically has the dragon on it, you take these cubes, you put them in the bag, and then you mix it all up, you pull the cubes out, and if it's your color, guess what? You take damage. And you only can take up to 10 damage. And what happens is, as you go along, and when people start coming in, that increases, like more cubes go into the bag, you pull more often, and you pull more cubes. And when somebody goes in, basically when somebody finishes the race first, basically by getting less points usually, when it comes to their turn, you pull on their turn in addition to that. So you increase your risks of getting killed and losing all of your hard-earned loot and your points. So there's this whole element of not only deck building, but movement, push your luck, and also screwing the other players over. It's a great mix of a lot of different things, and it comes together in probably one of my overall top 10 games, I think, probably, that I've played. It's a perfect kind of one of those perfect storm games. Now, this is their latest version. Getting to the later version now here. Now, normally Clank would be on a static board. You'd have a board, although I do like the sci-fi one a lot. But they haven't made one for that in a while, where you have a board, but it's modular. You can move the modules around, so you can kind of change your board every game if you want. They went to the 9th degree at this point, and basically now they completely randomized your board. They have tiles, and these tiles will come out and completely change how you play, because guess what? It's not static anymore. You're going to get who knows what from these tiles. And you have to line them up with lines, basically like this. And they added a new element too as well, because you usually each Clank to try to add a little bit something extra. So they have these lock picks that you get during the game, and basically you have to kind of collect them so you can unlock areas on the boards, which can give you other kinds of rewards. They have these prisoners that you can get, which are basically buffs. There's either points or one-time buffs, things like that you can spend, or just straight up points. Or, you can pull from, usually you have your treasures and stuff like that you can pull from. But basically you have to have these lock picks. So you go along collecting them as well to get extra stuff. Now, since it's random, and since these tiles will move actually while your character's on them, there's a very real chance, an extremely real chance, that you will get completely screwed.
Yes.
100% screwed.
That's one of my favorite things
It's
about
so much fun.
Which, as if you like that aspect, you run a tight, perfect game, and a tile gets moved around, and another tile gets moved around. All of a sudden, you're dead. If you like that aspect, then great. That is something that will happen in this game.
What we call fun.
It's
yes.
random. It's so it's
yes.
random.
For those who are more methodical and like kind of having static things that they can plan ahead for you, this is like, what's going on? It's like rolling dice. This will make you cry. It's like rolling dice. It's like, I could win the game if I roll this, but I'm not going to roll it. So, and I played it like, there's been games where I've totally gotten hosed by having the thing flip around. It's like, oh my God. So, yeah, I mean, if you like that chaos, this game is going to be probably your best version of Clank. If you, as evidenced by Mr. Tom and Mr. Don. But if you don't, yeah, this could be like, you like it, but maybe not as much as the static boards. Overall, though, it's Clank. It's absolute Clank, and I give it a solid 4 because honestly, it's Clank. It is great. I will add an asterisk though to that 4. For me personally, probably it's not going to be my favorite version of Clank because again, if you don't like the chaos element, if you don't like the randomity, it might not be as fun as having a static board. Legacy is far better in my opinion. I love Legacy.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody's favorite. That's why they're making another one. And honestly, though, I kind of like Sci-Fi a little bit better too, by a smidge. So it just depends. But it's still Clank. It's still a ball, and you're still gonna love it if you like deck building, if you like movement, if you like any any of the elements I described. You're gonna have an absolute ball. But it is like the board is a little bloodthirsty because to me is it's
unforgiving.
It's unforgiving. So it can be one of those games where it's like, man, I had another game where I got flipped around 15 times and I lost. So it's like the pandemic of Clank almost. But again, if you like that, great. It's still great. It's still a great game, and I absolutely still love it. Is it going to be your best version of Clank? Maybe not. Maybe it will. It just depends. Either way, Legacy. I think we're all agreed Legacy is probably the best version of Clank, though.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
We love it.
So I mean,
and it taught you how to cooperate.
Yes, it taught us. That's him how to. Yeah, that's the funny thing because I do like screwing people over in games, and Clank. That's actually my only little issue with Legacy Clank is the fact that it really doesn't behoove you as much to screw other people over in that game,
which is kind of franchise first.
Yes, think of the franchise first. So it's almost antithesis to Clank because Clank is very bloodthirsty. But yes, that is probably one of the weird things about Clank Legacy. So guys, listen, check out Clank. Honestly, any additions of Clank are great. Legacy we prefer first. This is a lighter version though. If you don't want to go through all the Legacy components and have a story and all that stuff, I can understand that. You can play this, bust it out. It is a great time. Original Clank, still great. The Sci-Fi Clank, also great. All of them are great. Just pick one and go with it, honestly. Any of them are good. But if you don't have any Clanks, I will say if you do not have any single Clank and you don't want to delve into Legacy and story and have a continuing thing, I would get this one. This honestly is absolutely perfect, and it's a good starting point for you. So that's my recommendation for you. Until then, of course, always be cooperative, right? Don't screw over your friends, even if you're...
You can screw over your friends.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Screw over your friends entirely, guys. And until then, game on.